So I don't want to get this short trip, but you know we have breaking news here. I've got to ask you this, Mike, and then Van. What about the case for reparations? Because many people would like reparations. Some people don't. They say it's not realistic. Listen, I don't know. I haven't studied reparations enough. I think it might help, but I do think that in this country, sadly, I'm not optimistic about that happening. What do you think, Michael?
Well, the first thing I'd say to anyone watching is to Google Ta-Nehisi Coates' article from The Atlantic on reparations, and he lays it out beautifully, yeah. much better than I can. But I'm a believer in reparations. When I see the president in the Rose Garden say just a few days ago that our Congress won't help urban communities before he leaves office, and he has to figure out creative ways to do so, we don't have any promise in sight that politicians are going to look at this situation and say, let's fix education, let's fix poverty, let's fix bad jobs, let's fix bad loans. If that's not the case, maybe we're at a place now we have to give folks who have been oppressed and built this country, built the White House, built half of this land for free. Maybe it's time to give them what they deserve.
Van Jones?
Yeah, you know, well, listen, if there were ever a case for reparations for any people, certainly African Americans who were enslaved for a couple hundred years, would be a case. Listen, if you worked one summer, all summer long, and then at the end of it, when you're supposed to get your paycheck, they said, never mind, we're not going to pay you. You would be angry for the rest of your life. Every time. I remember that summer, I worked all summer, they never paid me. Imagine if it wasn't a summer, but it was a century. Imagine if it wasn't one century, it was two. How would you feel if your family had that? I'm a ninth-generation American. People act like there were black people who were slaves and they like went to Mars, and then here these new black people are. No, this is a family story that is very alive and present in our understanding about how we have to navigate. That said, I do think that regardless if you want to say, well, because of the past, reparations, or because of the present, income inequality, or because of the future, how are we going to invest in a country that works? We need to be looking at making a serious investment in the communities that have been falling further behind. We are wasting genius. Those young people out there, some of them have been interviewed. They may not speak the King's English, but you can tell there's a brilliance there, there's a genius there, there's a wisdom there. That genius should be tapped to make our economy work. That genius should be put to a good use. Those young people could be building businesses rather than burning them down. That requires
and when you look at
yes.
And when you look at many of those neighborhoods, and you look at the people who come from those neighborhoods, you see a lot of culture. A lot of the popular culture comes from there. Music, fashion, and on and on and on.
Very
I hate to stop you, gentlemen, but I've got to move on. Thank you very much, Van. Thank you, Michael. We will continue this conversation. It is of course a very interesting and important one. I want to update our viewers.